Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. I have my sixth episode of Candace Unleashed. And today she's going to talk about three things. One, she's going to give some flowers to Morgan Freeman. She has an issue with corn, with Cardi B and how that's bad. So I'm going to take a little snippet of that. And she's going to also talk a little bit about some more facts that are very been hidden and not talked about World War II and the impact on the German population across Eastern Europe, and how that has not been publicized as regularly as other issues that happened during that time. But first, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell and go to my community tab and take that survey. And on Wednesdays, I have a sports show at 7 o'clock Eastern. And come listen in on a sports show. I want to start to build up an audience there. And no matter where you're from, if you like sports, click on my channel. Excuse me, I had a cough there. Anyway, so without further ado, what we're going to do is listen to the first segment of Candace Owens, and I'm going to put the link to her full video in my description so you can go there and check it out yourself. I want to give her credit, and we're going to go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Candace.
So Morgan Freeman, everybody knows Morgan Freeman, mostly because I guess if you're like me, you just want him to eulogize your funeral. His voice is incredible. I don't know. He's the perfect narrator. He just speaks and we listen. And that is how he has very much made a career for himself. Somebody once asked the question, has Morgan Freeman ever been young? I think the answer to that is no. I'm pretty sure he's always been the age that he is today, the age that I remember him being in every single movie. Well, he's made his way back into the news because one thing that Morgan Freeman has always been a stalwart on is the topic of race. He has always affirmed the reality that it's clear what is happening is divisive. It's always black versus white. They're constantly trying to make Black Americans feel that they are somehow different and apart from the rest of Americans. And really, that is the story of Juneteenth. That is how we got here. Following the BLM riots, it was just a little pat on the head from Joe Biden. Hey, we recognize that these riots have to end, so we're going to give you Juneteenth as a federal holiday. What an absolute nonsense. Before I tell you what Morgan Freeman is saying in this recent Variety interview that he gave, let's actually go back and listen to what he said back in 2006 in a 60 Minutes interview. Take a listen.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
He is so correct. All of it is so patronizing. And I don't know if I'm just being hopeful, that more Black Americans are beginning to wake up to it. And I think it is on the heels of the BLM fraud that was perpetuated on society.
Let me stop that right there. There's a couple of other reasons why we have to move forward, like Morgan Freeman said. But we're going to go ahead and keep this going.
Well, now I'm clapping back at Cardi B. So I'll give you the background of the story. I tweeted regarding pornography this. I said, ban pornography. It's a psychological weapon intended to weaken our men. And I followed that up. As you see, it got 9.3 million impressions. People were outraged. What am I going to do without my pornography? And I wrote this thereafter. I said, Pornography was created as a tool of enslavement, not freedom. It was created by the most depraved among our human race to psychologically introduce homosexuality, pedophilia, and incest, religious sacraments to Satanists, ban it, and stigmatize every person who defends or profits from it. Now, I know this is considered controversial for all of you that have ingrained in your mind somehow that somehow this is freedom of expression, that people should be allowed to present porn and to produce porn as a means of expression, that it's somehow a First Amendment right. That is utterly ridiculous. And in later shows, I'm going to take you guys through tracing the history of pornography and the individuals that made that argument in court and somehow won it. They should have never won that argument. It's pointedly ridiculous. Yes, it is a fact that pornography was introduced as a psychological weapon. Many studies have been done on how men will react to pornography, how women will react to pornography. And quite frankly, one of the greatest arbiters of pornography was a man who came right out and said that he introduced pornography as a way to subjugate Christianity. So they knew this was a weapon. They knew that this was going to tear apart families. They knew that this was going to make it difficult for people to grow deeper into their faiths. They introduced it as a weapon against Christianity. Plainly, this man says this on his Wikipedia page. Again, we're going to talk about that in a later episode because that deserves an entire episode about how they created these tools as weapons against our faith and against our culture. But of course, Cardi B saw this, and she is in many ways, I guess, a porn star of sorts. I think that, her body is always on display. And she tweeted this in response when that tweet was going viral. She said, "Oh my God, why y'all so against porn? Is it bad for y'all? I enjoy it, but I don't know. I guess it's like a 6 time a year thing. I personally don't feel no connection or addiction to it. Just a little quick 1-2. Nothing like real intimacy." And so I guess that makes her a cool girl. I guess the cool girls are the ones that say, "Oh, pornography is cool. I'm okay."
So you get the gist of this one, right? So again, she's more in tune with her Christian faith. And there's a lot of people who, especially men, who are addicted to corn and that kind of stuff. So on that, it's hard to argue. I don't know about banning it. I believe banning corn, which is so readily available, whatever the motivation was, now I don't think that one person or one ideology should be banning something that so many people need. I don't think that anything good will come out of forcing people not to get what they want. It's just going to create a black market. And that black market is going to be more dangerous than the market we're already in. So, yeah, you can have your high horse, Candace, but on this one, I think let bygones be bygones. Anybody who has trouble with porn, they can get help. There's help readily available for all of them. For the guys who fall to the wayside, well, if it's not this, it'll be something else. So I can't stand the word banning anything from one person trying to dictate what other people should see. So you of all people should know better than that. But anyway, the last segment that we're going to turn to is her segment on some stories that she did concerning World War II and some of the things that she found out. So let's go ahead over there and get that one popping.
We tackled some of the lies regarding World War II. We tackled the fact that 12 million Germans were ethnically cleansed. We talked about the fact that Stalin was still running concentration camps. And yet we were told, at least in our textbooks, our glorious textbooks, our historians made it, we marched in there to put an end to everything bad Adolf Hitler was doing. But we locked arms with Stalin and a regime that had done far worse, had killed far more people. Does that make sense? Are we allowed to ask questions about why we would be doing that? Well, Knight of Gondo writes, "Thank you, Candace, for bringing up the ethnic cleansing of Germans from Eastern Europe. My family was forced out of Prussia, which is now split between Poland and Russia. Many Prussians and other Germans were against the Nazis. Many were still conservatives who wanted the monarchy back. Germans tried to kill Hitler many times. Operation Valkyrie, for example. Germans suffered from the Treaty of Versailles and went to the person who said that he would end their suffering. Sadly, that man brought more suffering in Germany, and now we're still taught German guilt. Germans can't be proud of being Germans because of World War II. We were villainized in World War I as well. even though we did not start it, we backed an ally, which was Austria. Churchill wanted war and wanted Germany destroyed. Look at the Dresden bombing, bombed civilians, many burned to death. If I want to see where my family is from, I have to go to Poland or Russia, as Prussia no longer exists, nor does Silesia, Pomerania, East Brandenburg, etc. These were German states for centuries, and now they're not. Yes, I have German friends, and when they talk to me about the fact that imagine being from a place where you're not allowed to be proud of where you're from because the entire Western world has been convinced that you are the bad guys. They've been propagandizing and believing that you were always the bad guys. That's really sad. That is really sad.
All right, so let me stop it right there. So you can go see this whole clip. And, Candace is always on this tip about exposing certain things. But just because she says it doesn't mean you shouldn't do your own research. Do your own research. And even if it's true, you don't necessarily have to agree with her take on it. But, it's interesting to know a little bit of all the facts about World War II and all the atrocities that went on, not just a few, not just one. There was a lot of atrocities. What they said, millions of humans across the world died in that war. Millions. Sometimes it's hard to grasp, put your hands around how many people died. And the fact that we may have some people trying to push us to WW3, which I have no idea with the weaponry we have that there could be a possible end to that, okay? Because there's no honest brokers anywhere. So anyhow, listen, so we need to, we're teetering, as we're just teetering on the brink. So everybody just brace yourselves, vote the right people in office, and let's try to back away from death and destruction and spend some money on a peace dividend to put technology at the forefront, high-speed rails, fixing the roads, doing all kinds of things that can help us elevate as mankind as opposed to degenerate that's going on now. So anyway, our pain, marriage, politics, and sports, over and out.